Tango 1 at the top. We are at Pop Up Vehicle. 10-4, Tango 1. You have control. Tango 1 copy. Stand by. Stand by.
Integrity, passion, resilience. That's what this place was built on. That's what our community is founded on. Don't act like the example, just be the example. This is the home of the greatest fitness community in the world. We're trying to create strong, able bodies, resilient to injury with a gas tank to get shit done. If there's one thing from this podcast, it's about taking immediate action, find the problem, fix the problem. This is your opportunity. It's either a hell yes or a fuck no. It's that simple. You're ruining the Tango 1 podcast. Now is the time to take action. Now's the time to do more and be more.
Welcome everybody to Tango 1 Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Smith, and this week I got an awesome guest on here. I'm like super pumped. I've been trying to land this guy for a while, and I got connected through a mutual friend. So today we got Tyrone Crawford, former NFL, retired NFL football player. From the Windsor area and now living out in Dallas-ish area, I believe. So thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, man. It's an honor.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for this one. I was at the Windsor Stadium thing. Remember that when it was that big Windsor Stadium benefit?
Oh, the benefit thing that like nothing ever came from?
That nothing ever came of. Yeah, I was there. I heard you talk there. And that was like the first time I was like that day I remember leaving there super impressed because like you and Luke and you guys all like killed your speeches.
Oh, man. I don't remember it really, but I appreciate that. Yeah,
you told a hilarious story like about when you got to Boise and you're showing your game films and you're showing like you guys playing at Catholic Central and there's like no stadium, there's nothing. In the background.
I still get roasted for that, dude. I figured, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But yeah, the guys were like, man, this guy can't be good at football. This guy's playing with houses in the background at Micmac Park. I think we're at Micmac. I think that's where it is.
Played at Micmac. That's where my kids play Windsor Minor right now. Yeah, the field's not even level. It's like you're running on a hill.
There's people in their backyard cleaning their decks off. Yes. But no. I've been trying to make a push, man. Like I've been talking to a couple of people. I want that. I mean, if no one's doing anything with the stadium, I want it, man. And I'm trying to tell the city, like, let's figure out a way I can get that thing. But I don't know what's happening in the city. But the last time I've drove by it, it's been just kind of looks dormant, looks the same.
Yeah, it looks absolutely the same as when like I played there in like the late 90s, man. It like hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
but what has changed? Have you seen Catholic Central?
I haven't seen the new one. I haven't been back long enough to actually like give it a tour. So I got to get back there and spend some good time. But like I told you before we started the show, I got 4 daughters, man, and it's just been rolling 5 and down. So it's been rolling. We've been busy.
Man, yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. And is your wife from like up there? You met her obviously in junior school or in university or what?
Yeah, we met in junior. Like when I was in junior college, she played volleyball at the university in the same town, and we met through my host brother. And yeah, I mean, we kind of we kicked it off, from the get. But she's originally from Houston, Texas. So yeah, she's born and raised in Cyprus. So it's kind of. I wasn't going to get on you, but you said, I'm in the Windsor area. No, I'm from the heart. The heart. Dallas, yes, I live in the Dallas area, but the Windsor, yeah, I'm from right in the center.
Yeah, we're at Windsor. Where at exactly?
I'm from like central Windsor, so like we're talking Tecumseh and Moy, Howard and Shepherd, where I grew up. You know what I mean? So like almost downtown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's my wife's first house when we first got together. She was right at Tecumseh and like Hall, Tecumseh and Gladstone.
Yeah,
that's behind Franco's there. Remember where the dinner spot?
Yeah. Franco's is the best.
Yeah, Coolini's, Franco's, all those little places.
Yeah. I always turn down Hall because you can't turn down Moy because of the train tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I still got that Lions.
I was wondering if I should just.
You're trying to cover it up.
Cover that for you. Were you a Lions fan growing up?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, for sure. I that's about the only NFL football I really followed besides the Super Bowl. Like I would watch the Super Bowl, but if there was anything I was watching on TV, it was the Lions. I think that's all we got really. But yeah, so the Lions, and then I was a little bit of a Ticats fan because I got to meet a couple of the guys when I was young. So
Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah,
probably the guys I played with,
probably. Yeah,
Maha, and those guys.
yeah, actually,
Really?
all. Yeah, no, I didn't. I don't know if I met them. I forget who the players were, to be honest. But I thought it was the coolest thing at that time.
Yeah. At what point, like, so did you start playing football as a little boy? Like, what did?
Man, I played for Windsor Police, um, and we practiced on the West End, and I played for them 1 year when I was in like grade 7, and then um, I quit. Didn't like it. I mean, I quit after the season because my mom didn't let me quit nothing. But so like I quit after the season. Like I've said, I'm done with football, and then kind of fell back in love with it in high school.
Do you remember who your coaches were like then? Was it actual cops? Was it like Don Williams and?
Um, no, I don't think. Well, yeah, there were. I think the head coach was a police officer, but I can't really remember. I know. Shoot, I can't really remember my coaches in that time. All I know is I didn't like them.
Yeah, man. That's
Yeah,
how I got into it,
I
man.
wish
I
I
was
could
like,
remember though, because yeah, they probably were. You probably know all of them.
I'm wondering if it's the guys that, because there was a guy who was coaching Windsor Police way back whenever I started in like 2000,
Yeah,
1990, 2000. And he just walked up to me one day and he's like, "Hey, you're coaching football. Be there tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh, like, like you got no like choice really, right?"
yeah, yeah.
And
You're right.
now today, when I'm coaching my sons in Windsor Minor, he actually comes out and he's like my assistant coach. He's like, he's retired. He doesn't do anything anymore. He comes out
Awesome.
and coaches, which is kind of cool.
That's awesome, man. That's
Cool.
super cool. Like that's why I love like the city too, because like the little the minor coaches here, they get paid. You know what I mean? They get
Oh
paid
my
a lot of
God.
money, like a lot of money. You know what I mean? And we're like, our guys go out there and we do it for less, almost nothing. You know what I mean? And just to coach the kids up. Just some
Yeah.
guys that know football as much as we know it. You know what I mean? So I like the city for that reason. It's always been something I saluted to, the coaches that coach in the city for sure.
Yeah. I always wondered, so like what do you think? I know I've talked to Luke about this a little bit, and like you said you got into football like in high school. Like I'm assuming you played a bunch of sports. Like what do you think about that with like little kids? Like I know it's getting real. Like football around here, I'm sure it's different where you are now, but football around here is the only sport that still is like a short season. Wherever you're from is who you play with. There's no like
Yeah,
travel. Like for my kids' baseball, it's literally out of control. It's like hockey was when I was growing up. Like soccer, all those sports become like you can barely play the other sports anymore.
yeah. That sucks. I don't think, me personally, I can just preach on what I know and what I did, and I played, shoot, every sport under the sun. And I mean, my mom had me in everything. Maybe I didn't like some things, but man, I played baseball for the longest time. Um, and like when my mom had me like as I was growing up, there were so many things that I was doing. And I was playing these sports that when I went into high school, it kind of transferred. Like I didn't want to be sitting down, so I went straight from football to basketball to track and field. You know what I mean? So, and then in the summer, I think I was still playing baseball and stuff like that. So in the summer, I would do mostly basketball, baseball, but like it was never just like focus on football. One thing I would say like kids should focus on now, and I kind of am starting to push that a little bit. With the kids like around here, and I want to bring it up, back to the city a little bit. It's just like do as many things as you can, or do as many things as you want, as many sports as you want, but kind of train like you do them all. You know what I mean? So like you got to train I mean, the most important thing in any sport is your explosion. You know what I mean? For me, your core and your explosion, and that's just my opinion. And I think that's something that you should be training, and then foot speed, hand speed. That all comes. Lateral movement, lateral explosion. That all comes with it. So yeah, man, I'm passionate about that little part. So don't get me going on that.
No, I like it. I like it. I'm in here all the time in the gym and I'm trying to talk to parents like I'm working with the soccer team coming up this weekend, and they want things to be like, so they're like, specific to this and this and this. I'm like, well, all those things we're talking about that you just mentioned, agility, all these things, they have to have a base of strength to them, right? If a little boy or a little girl can't, we're asking a pitcher, to lean on their back leg and drive off one leg, but they can't even squat down to like a tall box on one leg. How are we going to do that? We have to teach them these little, the little stabilizers, how to like balance, how to be strong, how to properly squat, right? Before we can really progress into these super sport specific, right? I think a lot of coaches out here are trying to like just basically ripping people off by doing ladder drills all the time, right?
I know, man. I know that. Don't get me started there. Don't. I don't want to go into that rant on your podcast. But yeah, no, there's there's a lot of, even when we came down to Windsor for, the Windsor's Finest camp, like I would walk around the camp and I would be seeing, some of the players come and doing like, what they would do at other camps or something like that. I'd be like, no, Tyrone, put your hands on this kid, teach this kid like real stuff. Like, I don't want him doing for an offensive lineman. I don't want him taking little steps and, sprinting off the ball. I want him learning from you. I want him knowing like some of like the things that he needs to work on, like little details, So, I mean, yeah, like I'm all about like, with my coach Marinelli in the NFL, he's the guru. I call him Master Splinter. But he would always coach on, like he would explain exactly what we're going to do in practice and why we were doing it, and things like that. And like right now, you can look on Instagram and all these kids training, and they don't know why they're doing, like they don't know why they're putting their foot in and out of these boxes. You know what I mean? Like, understand why you're doing it. Do it with a purpose. You know what I mean? But we need to definitely collab later on. Maybe you have me on a dinner or something, hopefully, and because I'm in the process of creating like a formula and something I'm just gonna dump out, and just hopefully kids will catch on and just take it, and it's just look challenges by me, So I'm in the process of getting all that filmed and written up, and I'm just gonna send it out, and see if people will gravitate towards it. But I think it's going to be great for young athletes if they can just wrap their mind around it.
Well, man, I think it'd be awesome. And I think like locally speaking too, like seeing how my kids react to, I'm their father and they get probably sick of talking to me, and, I'm a 45-year-old man, but seeing the way that they react to like, like you, when I said today you're going to be on the podcast, they're looking you up. They're so excited. Like they can't wait to like hear about it when I get home, how they responded to Luke, and like, and then seeing, you guys in these camps, I'm sure just like, it just gives some like hope to these kids from Windsor, Ontario. Like how wild is it? Like there's OJ, there's Brett, Luke, like all these guys that like not even just made the NFL, but like had significant, like, you played in over 100 games, man. Like you've sacked Tom Brady. Like there's so much that's come out of this little city. And I hope these players, and I want, and football's grown here a little bit. And it's nice to see we got more kids trying out for Windsor Minor than I've ever seen last year. And it's, it's nice to see. I hope it goes somewhere, but just not too far, not so big.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, dude, and you mentioned us that went to the NFL, and, there's guys that went to college that are just like good guys to look up to, as far in the city as well. You know what I mean? And, or just, good players and good coaches, you know what I mean? Like you just coaching your sons. Like, I know you say they don't want to listen to you because and I get it because I got my girls and I'm trying to teach them golf and everything. But man, like if they can wrap their heads around listening to you and know that and know you know what I mean? So like if they can, I hope that's like the one thing that we can get to our own kids is that, like, hey, like we know a little bit about this, just tap in and listen, you know what I mean? And we're not steering you in the wrong direction. No, but I was going there because of Theo. I was thinking about Theo. He's on his way.
Oh yeah, man, he is. Yeah, he actually watched him. We watched the combine. He did great.
Did really good.
He can move, man.
He's a beast for a tight end. I'm really happy for him and that family. I always speak with Dominic, his brother, and he's got his head on so straight. It's crazy. He reads like 2 books a day. The kid's a genius. And just he's doing the same kind of thing. I jumped on his podcast, so that might be a cool guy for you guys to chop it up one time. For sure.
I'd love to make that connection.
Yeah, I'll connect you guys for sure.
Yeah, man. So tell me about this a little bit. Like, so you're at Catholic Central. Like, at what point do you realize that like you've got a shot?
Shot at what?
A shot at going pro? Like, did you even
Oh man,
know? Like, did
that
you even
was
know? Like, how did
nah, nah.
even
Realistically, like there were things said, like Coach Curry, my high school football coach. He gave me an award to me and Mike Atkinson. In our in our team, the team dinner at the end of the year. And he was like, "Man, like you guys really got a shot at going pro." And I don't really just like say that. He's like, "You guys, there's that, and then there's other things like you might hear NFL every once in a while, but it never comes to a reality. I mean, it didn't come to a reality for me until um, honestly my senior year in Boise. So yeah, me even thinking about like a realistic shot at the NFL in high school, I can't even lie to you, that didn't pop up. That
really?
didn't pop. Yeah, it didn't pop up at all.
So was it like a goal? Like, what was did I mean? Did you want to play in the NBA? Like, was it even like to be a pro
Well,
athlete?
man,
What was the
honestly, like that's why. I mean, I had a really good coaches and mentors in high school. Like Coach George, Coach Guzmano, Mr. Walls, Coach Curry, all those guys, and like so many more coaches. DePonio that I had for track. They all just kind of like kept my head on having a bunch of big goals and then and then some good tiny steps to reach those same goals. You know what I mean? So it's like stay disciplined in the process of now. You know what I mean? So like I was always just trying to work out at that time, and work out to be the best I can be, whatever it was. But it kind of just helped me take those steps that I needed to take, not like looking too far, like not having too big of a goal. Like, I remember Coach George telling me like, "Hey, yeah, you like everybody probably think they like that's probably every kid's dream to go pro, but go and get free schooling. Make that your first goal." And I was like, "Okay, well, yeah." He's like, like go and get free schooling. So I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, I know my mom can't pay for school, so I'm gonna make someone pay for school." You know what I mean? So I was working hard enough to make that happen. You know what I mean? And then I got free schooling.
How did that come about? Like,
And
what?
I almost didn't. I mean, as you know, I went to junior college. So I mean, like, I went to junior college and figured out ways for people to help me get that done. And my mom, huge sacrifices to help me get that done. And then 2 years of junior college, yeah, I finally got a full ride scholarship to Boise, right? But yeah, I mean, I just had the coaches that I've mentioned and even and more, helped me out in that process. And Coach Cusimano was a huge help. He sent my film off to every junior college and every college in the United States, probably. And yeah, man, we just got lucky with a couple of coaches watching. I went to Michigan State's football camp. And then, yeah, when I went to Michigan State's football camp, the D-line coach, and I've still actually talked to him to this day, but he was like, "Hey, you know what? I know you can't clear the clearinghouse, but if you would go to a feeder school of ours that we love getting guys out of, it would be great." And he told me Bakersfield College, the coach is Coach Chudy. And then, that goes by, I'm still trying to make it so I can get to D1, not even thinking about junior college. And then closer to the time when I'm not going to be able to do it, things just aren't aligning up. Boise comes in and they come into Catholic Central's gym during one of my basketball games, and the D-line coach. And so I knew he was coming. So I'm trying to dunk every chance I get. Right. But he met Mike Atkinson at the same time, and we showed him Mike's film. Mike got a full ride there. And then he tells me the same thing. He's like, "Hey, we have a great program in California, you know, um, great coach, Coach Chudy." And I'm like, "Okay, well, this guy's name popped up to the two schools that had interest like from the two coaches that had interest in me, the same coach, the same school." So I was like, "Let me look into Bakersfield." So we sent him every email under the book, every person we can send to that school. And yeah, I got into there. Coach Trudy and me still have a great relationship, and all the coaches there, Coach Bolton. But yeah, man, that's kind of how that went. Long story.
No, that's wild though.
Yeah.
That's So you end up in Bakersfield, and you had, obviously you did very well there. I think I didn't know much about the Bakersfield situation. I just knew, like, I
Yeah.
knew Boise State. That's what I remembered when you like really started to hit the radar again, I guess, around here. Because I got to say that Windsor does a terrible job of covering football. I could tell you every
No.
stat about. I could find everything about the 15-year-old playing hockey, but I can't find out about, you know,
Yeah.
the guys who are playing our game. So and then Boise State, like, that's a huge school. Like, that must have been like holy, this is getting real, right? Like,
Yeah. No, I mean, you're talking out of high school?
yeah, like, so,
Yeah.
like, and I
Well,
love what you
Michigan
said.
State
It was,
and State.
take me that one more time. You said stay disciplined in the process of now.
I mean, like, yeah, just
I
like,
love it.
yeah, like, just stay disciplined now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really like. There's no quote behind that. It's just, hey, like right now, like your focus is staying disciplined on what you're doing, right? Like what that goal is for tomorrow. You stay disciplined. If you said you're gonna wake up at 5:30, wake up at 5:30 and do exactly what you said you're gonna do. And I mean, that's just kind of how I was at that time. My mom instilled a lot of that in me just because I watched her be disciplined and her daily efforts. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's something it's super important, and even like as I'm learning post career, on just different business ventures, and even just learning my own path and portfolio and discipline plays a major part. It's huge. Like if you say you're going to do it, you got to get up and do it, or else you're not going to be the guy in business. You're not going to be a guy in business at all. You're just going to continue going down a path that, I mean, my first year was and retired. It was just a path of nothing.
Yeah.
It was. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it had to be a difficult transition from, playing in front of all these people for so many years. Like, it was such a
Yeah,
big part of your life, right? Like, you spent how many years in the NFL? 8, 9?
9. Yeah, 9 years.
9. Like, that's a lot, man. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
I was close with Romberg, when we came out of AKO, and we went up and watched him play every year. And
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
sick.
and it felt like he was there forever, but it was only 6, 7 years. And it's funny. I was thinking about this about you as I'm driving up. Like, okay, I was a cop for 20 years and I've been out for 5. And my friends now I'm getting like, hey, come to so-and-so's retirement party. I'm like, man, I'm that old that all my friends are retiring. Like, at their full 30, I quit. Right. And like,
Yeah,
but you're so young, but you're like, I see you posting like, your friends are now retiring out of the NFL. You're retired out of the NFL. That's an odd situation to think of, to get my head around, as a guy who's, we're retiring at 50 here and you're retiring at 28, 29, 30. It's wild.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's funny because I had a friend of mine text me the other day, and because Tyron went off to the Jets, and I forget who. Oh, Leighton, unfortunately, from neck injuries, but we're. He said it's only DeMarcus and Zach left, and like of our little of like our crew that like everyone knew kind of thing. It's crazy that like DeMarcus Lawrence and Zach Martin are the only guys that are still there that it's like and eventually in the next 2-3 years they're probably going to retire as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's crazy. It's funny you say that because I was thinking about it today and I actually got that message today. So it's
Wow.
funny. How
Well,
like if you don't mind me asking you
yeah,
a
go.
question, just like something that but like for being a police officer for 20 years and then 5 years out, do you still like know some of the guys in there and then hear a story, like is it like a locker room type of thing, like you know what I mean, like you still know guys on the team, so you're still like you still hear some like some of the best stories and
Yeah, yeah, I'm lucky in that way. Like, I was like being part of the SWAT team for so long too. Like, it was like that's why I loved it so much. It was like I was kind of like hanging on to that like sports life where
yeah,
you are so close. You work with the same people every single day in such tight quarters, doing some pretty crazy things. So you get super tight with them. So yeah, like, and you go back and there's the guys who are there now. I mean, there's guys on that unit now that I coached when they were playing AKO, and they're now
pretty,
on that unit. So it's a different vibe, probably similar
yeah,
to what you go back to. It's like you don't
yeah,
realize how much the guys know you, but they do, and it's
yeah,
kind of cool. And it is bigger and better than it ever was. So I think that's kind of, for me, that was always something that's important, is I like to see that they're getting better, not worse,
Yeah.
right? Like better than
Yeah.
when I was there and better than you left it type thing.
Yeah. I mean, I could say the same thing, except for how the Cowboys did in free agency.
Yeah.
Nah, but I thought we were gonna sign somebody big, but hey, that's just how the Cowboys roll, man. They're super discreet. I have mad trust in Will McClay and the Joneses. So I mean, those guys are gonna get it done no matter what. They're gonna be a good team. Maybe it's a year where it just had to get some guys back and make sure we get some guys next year. But yeah, I don't know. We'll be good.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's also kind of cool. Like, was it like, at what point did you realize like you were going to retire a Cowboy? Like, you start and finish. Like, that's pretty rare in this. Like, one to be a guy from Windsor and you're in the NFL playing in Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's world, but then to
Yeah.
like spend your whole career there, like that must mean a lot to you. Like, you're no longer like, you're a Dallas Cowboy for life, right? Like, is that
Yeah.
kind of the situation?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm a Cowboy for life, and I honestly like everybody wishes that, that comes to the Cowboys. They wish that, hey, that's wish and hope that that's going to be the case. But, sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. And I was hoping it didn't happen, any other way than what it did. And, I knew for a fact the moment I had started having hip issues, and I couldn't get over it, and then I had to go and get surgery. I knew I was retiring a Cowboy, because if they got rid of me, I was retiring. If they kept me, I was playing one more year with the Cowboys, and I was gonna do the best I could with these hips and then retire. So yeah, I just had very fortunate to be able to be a Cowboy for life too. I mean, it's just it's kind of it's a team you don't want to betray almost. It's a family that's pretty deep. And like, I'm not saying that guys betray them if they go to other teams, but if you could retire one, it's pretty special for sure.
I mean, Luke talks the same a lot about Seattle too, right? And like
Yeah.
the culture, and like it's like these teams win a lot of games, and and you're seeing Dan Campbell, my Lions symbol back here. You're seeing the Lions like kind of like this shift in the culture, and like people wanted to go there and stuff. I think that must mean a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, sorry if I got spit up on me and stuff, man. I had the baby. I looked up at the camera. I was like, do I got spit up on me? But yeah, man, Dan Campbell, dude, what a beast. You guys are lucky. But I mean, we got McCarthy and everything, and it's gonna be great. But I do really, I'm a fan of Dan Campbell. I think he's awesome, and I think he's a badass for doing what he did, going for it. I know a lot of people didn't like that, but I love it. I love it. He don't change. Like, you can't go against what you've been doing. Some people say adjust, but I don't think so.
And you think the players buy into that like attitude, right? Like, like from what I've seen, I'm not in the locker room, but you see these posts and stuff and what's true and what's not. But you see the players really backing his decision, saying that's us.
Yeah. I guarantee you, like, no one can tell them nothing. Like, no Lions fan can come in and try and deter them from being with that coach and running through a wall for him. I mean, dude, like, again, like, I was so happy to get on this podcast with you, because you're a coach, and I applaud, salute coaches. Like, any man that can get out there, any man or woman that can get out there and coach. And I mean, I guess maybe because you've been coached. Coaches can change lives. You know what I mean? So again, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you for having me, for sure.
I appreciate that, man. And I agree with you like totally with coaches, and that's why I do it. Like, to get on the police department, my 3 references were football coaches at different levels. It's like, that's what they mean. And I think actually a basketball coach too. So it was like, like sports and like growing up, it is what it was, and it meant a lot. And those became like, I have a great father, but those guys became like like what I said about my sons, that it was like somebody else who was different, but probably really back in the lessons my father was putting into me, and the discipline and the show up, that kind of attitude. And I think that's, I mean, it shows in your career that you're a grinder. You started, you get drafted, and then like work your way all the way into the starting lineup. You're wearing that C on your shirt, man. Like, it was just a wild time to see you guys, both you and Luke, like battling on the same field. And I remember we're watching the games with my sons, and Luke was in here training because he was kind of out of a gym. And they're watching it, and then we see you too. Like I think you tackle him or you picked him up off the floor, and it was like I'm like, oh man, this
Dude,
is like
and
this
me
is
and Luke had some
amazing.
battle. He would never let. He would like like with me, he would go as hard as he could because he wanted. So like as a tight end, you got some advantages, but I didn't let him get them advantages. If he tried to block me, I'm shoving his ass all the way to the
Yeah,
side.
you got him by a
You
few
can ask him,
pounds, man.
yeah, him. Yeah, we could go at it again, Luke, if you want it. Shoot. No, joking. That's my boy, man. I love Luke.
It's amazing. Was there like a moment when you're in the NFL, you're playing in Jerry's world, like that's got to be surreal. Is there a moment when you're just like, man, I can't believe I'm here? Like, was there ever that feeling that, or was it just so much hard work that you just felt like it was like, it was so slow, you didn't feel it that way?
No, I mean both. Like there was times there was like that, like rookie year and just everything was kind of like, dude, I'm just trying to make it. I'm trying to make it through. But then there was times where, I mean, dude, you look up and you're in, AT&T Stadium, and I mean every game, no matter what kind of what stadium, like when the national anthem plays, you kind of get this that feeling that's like, holy crap, like this is it, like this is the big show, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing this again. I'm here another year, and the nerves kick in, and then once that first snap hits and you hit somebody in the face, everything goes away, and it's just like normal football, just like we all know. But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's some big moments. Like my first game ever, we were in New York, and like I only got 3 snaps that game, but we're in New York. I think this is the Odell Beckham catch actually, where he caught that thing like this.
Yeah.
I think that was that game, but yeah. So I don't know if it was or not, but we're in New York, and I'm sitting there on the sidelines, and we're about to do the national anthem, and Queen Latifah walks out, and like I'm talking, the jets fly over. It's like the most surreal like moment in my career, and I'm like, what is going on? Like I'm really here. Like this is insane, but it was dope. Like there was what a great moment. Like Queen Latifah like hops out on my first game. It's insane.
That is wild, man.
Yeah,
So my boy, he's going through, and I was telling you before we hopped on the record, and he's like, my kid's just obsessed, and he's writing all the notes for you, right? Like all this stuff. And
yeah.
like I knew you did some things, man, but like listen to this list. This is what he tells me. Sacked, Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning. Like those are all guys. Like that is like
Yeah.
that in itself. Like it's
I don't
just
like any of them.
yeah, you don't like any of them.
No, none of them. Because
All
they
week
all
long.
like you're talking about. I mean, besides Manning, but you're talking. Those are 3 quarterbacks that still whooped us, even though I got those
Really?
sacks. Yeah, man, whooped us. Cam Newton. That was like one of the worst played games we ever had. And then what Brady did, and then what Aaron Rodgers did to us every single playoff game. They call him the gunslinger. They actually got wanted signs out for that guy in Texas. Yeah. So, but I tell him I appreciate those stats. Tell him I appreciate that. But yeah, he just brought up some memories for me.
Some sore spots.
Yeah.
The highlights that are highlights are your sore spots.
Yeah. No, they're still great spots too.
So take me through. So you said about your hips, right? And at what point, like, do you start to decide like, hey, like, and how much of that had to do with like your daughters and like thinking 10, 20 years from now? Or was it like more of like I'm in such immediate pain? Like, what goes through your head?
That's a great question. I don't even think anybody's even asked me like how much it had to do with my daughters. But yeah, I mean that's you kind of just hit everything, like my body, as far as just being able to do some of the things that I personally wanted to do, but unselfishly it was definitely being able to play with my 2 daughters at the time, and also just being able to help around the house with my wife, like, and not be in pain every day. And honestly, it was before I got the surgery, it was probably the worst pain I've gone through in the NFL. And I tore my Achilles, I torn both shoulders, and those hips gave me so much pain and gave me so many problems that, yeah, man, it was just kind of like, I'm not playing at the level I can play at. I used to be able to play at the strength, the explosion. Um, so yeah, man, it was kind of like, it was all that. And, I prayed on it a long time. And yeah, man, God answered my prayers. I had a routine ankle surgery and ended up getting a blood clot in my calf. Then it moved up to my lung. So I had 2 pulmonary embolisms.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was on, luckily I got, out of the hospital safe and sound from all that. And I was on blood thinners for 6 months. So I wouldn't have been able to play football anyways. So yeah, he gave me a good answer to, me sitting down on my knees every night and, praying about that, asking that question. And yeah, so that was answered. But, I don't regret it. I don't regret anything, man. I had an amazing 9 years. Met like a lot of amazing people, a lot of amazing brothers, coaches, freaking opened so many doors. I'm a cowboy for life. It's helped me in business, so it was good, man. No regrets. And I have a beautiful family, so it's lovely. And I get to sit and chop it up with guys like you,
That's what
Big
life's about,
swap
man. That's
out.
what life's about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what is next? Like what you're talking about, you're doing the coaching videos, the challenges. Is there other things that you have on the rise that you care to share? You don't have to get into any things that
No,
might be
no, I mean, like, honestly, yeah, like the projects that I have going on, because I can't be in the city and help. Those type of projects are like, heartfelt projects, passion projects that I just want to kind of do, just to something that I've always done. And it's honestly like, it's like my give back. Like, I don't like giving a lot of money away. So it's my give back, you know to the youth, and to the grinders out there, the kids with passion, the kids kind of like me that couldn't always afford protein or a gym membership, but found ways to get it done, like the no excuse guys. You know what I mean? And then yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm really focusing. I'm kind of a student of the game again. I have a mentor, a financial advisor, an uncle, and we kind of run through deals together. Um, I'm trying to diversify, kind of the things that I've made in the league as far as, finances. I don't want to seem like I'm a stingy guy. I've definitely did my fair share of giving. But no, I'm saying, like, as of now, I still have to take care of the household. Still have to, try my best to, provide for my family. And so, I just try and learn in this business thing, and just learn, the market. I try and learn, private equity, real estate, um, you know, everything from stocks to bonds. I try and I'm just learning all that right now. And I'm so far ahead of, I mean, I'm so far behind the game, that
right.
I'm just doing a lot of catching up in the business world. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, I feel like you are probably, but I think like you maybe like I think you're surrounded by so many people that are so young. Like I feel like,
yeah,
and like hearing you say this stuff, this is stuff that I was just learning like, within the last 4 or 5 years. Like so, you probably
or
feel
you
like you're
retire.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah,
Like it's like,
yeah.
but you are, I think, like probably ahead of it, and good for you for getting on that stuff. Like, did you find was there some guys like that in the game that you were modeling after that you're like, oh man, so and so's like he set himself up for the future, not just with big contracts, but like with actually taking that money that you have now and making it because you have to make this last a long time, man. Like it's not like you're in the
Yeah.
NFL till you're 28, 29. Like, what are you gonna do after? Was there somebody like that you kind of model it after?
Man, honestly, there's a lot. There's a lot of guys like that. Sean Lee's a big guy that kind of spoke to me more on the man side and financial side of things, and just kind of was the guy that you know hit you where it hurt when it came to spending and kind of financial decisions, which helped grow quick. You know what I mean? He would give you mistakes that you didn't make yet. So so not to make them if you're wise. Even though I made some, I bought a brand new car, all that stuff at the beginning that, just things that I just wasn't really. I was young and I just was just spending. I didn't think about, what if I didn't stay 3 years in the league or 5 years in the league and make more money. But no, but the biggest thing for me, and I was super lucky. My uncle Grant, and he's passed away, so God rest his soul. But he called me and he said, "Hey, I have a really good friend in Dallas. He's done really well for himself, and I want you to kind of, listen to him and just sit down with him and let him take you out to lunch and become good with this guy." And that guy's name is Clayton, and he, I call him Uncle Clayton. My girls call him Uncle Clayton now. And financially and just discipline and business wise, he's a guru, and he's he's a great man as well. So he just always made sure he made a promise to my uncle, actually, without me knowing. But he made a promise that, yeah, like, I'll take care of him, and I'll make sure, like, the financial side of it is like, I'll do my best to make sure he makes good decisions. And he did that. He helped me along the way, explained to me, he helped me pick an agent when I switched agents, going into my second contract. He helped me with my financial guy. He helped me with deals that my financial guy would do. He made sure I walked through them with him. He made sure I was, if I made a decision to send money somewhere, he walked me through how it was going to go, in the future. Like, if I sent money to a loved one, he's like, "Okay, well, now this is how this is going to go. And there's going to be like 3 or 4 more times you do this, and you're going to have to say no. You're going to have to say no one of the times." And, it's kind of like, that person that's already been through it, he's giving you these pre-warnings and you're not taking the warnings. And then, like, you realize the hard way. I had to go through some of that with him, but it was easier because he kind of gave me the warning. So I was going into it knowing it, and I didn't let it happen again, type of thing. Right. So,
Right.
just things like that, man. I was just extremely lucky to be able to, have knowledge. And then I met the person I call a mentor. I met him young. My financial advisor, he always brought me along and not treated me like, just money in the bank. He helped me grow, helped me make, right decisions and where I would place my money, and, kind of how I would chart it out and a future plan for my family and set my family up nice with, wills and all that. So, dude, I had a lot of it. I can't take any of the credit for it being like something, that I thought of or I learned on my own. It's all people taught me this. And I seek mentors too. And that's what I always try and tell the young ones, like, seek someone that's doing something that you want to do and they're doing it at a good level.
Yes, man.
Because they've made the mistakes, dude. They've made the mistakes. And, you might think that you're, Mr. Right, but, go to that person and ask about those mistakes. So, at least when you make the mistake, you won't make it again. You know what I mean?
Isn't it incredible how, like, successful people want to help? I've
Yeah.
always been like, that's been one thing, like, as I was, starting to get out on my own and needing to rely on people a little bit more than I did probably as a police officer, and how open people are. Like, it's like, this guy who comes to the gym is so successful here, and you go and you speak to him, and he's actually paying me to come here, but he's
Yeah.
giving me so much information and connections and, like, just things that I would never think of. I'm always, like, humbled by that, and, like, so quick to, like, that's why you always want to just kind of, like, do the same for the next person down the line, or whatever that little thing I might be able to help with. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, like, I can't attest to that enough. If people want to help. I mean, you could just think about even me, right? Like, if somebody comes to me, I feel like I get a sense of joy that there's kids out there that want to know, like that gives me, okay, now this kid's like me, you know what I mean? Like, he wants it, like he's seeking advice, and he's humbling himself to the point where he can, ask the questions that he doesn't think he knows it all, and he knows that I've been, like, it gives me like a sense of joy, and I'm sure that's maybe what the feeling that the people
Yeah.
that offer help to us get. So it's yeah, it's pretty amazing, man. I'm appreciative of everybody that I go and seek help from, that help me, man. I appreciate it.
I saw
Great
your face lit up when you started talking about Theo. Like I can see that, and I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
get
yeah.
that
Theo.
vibe off
No,
you, man.
Theo's a guy.
And
And
it's awesome.
honestly, yeah, I mean, Theo, obviously Theo came to the camps and stuff, and I've known Theo and that whole family. I mean, man, their mom is insane. She's a beast, and but yeah, I've known that whole family for a while, and just to see him grow and see, watch his strides as a football player. I followed his brother, and his brother's a beast too. He was a two-sport athlete. You know what I mean, at Buffalo. So I followed them, and it's not like there's been much advice, they've seeked out of me, but I know that, I was there, and he gives me compliments all the time, and and what I did and how I did it and everything. So I always appreciate that. But I mean, the kids just got a great foundation, great people around them, and he made really good decisions, and he works hard. So it's all like huge testament to him and what he's doing, and I hope he has a super long career in the NFL. You know what I mean? He's a young beast for
Yeah,
sure.
man. It's always amazing to talk to guys like you, and I feel like you guys are. I don't want to put all of you in the same boat. All the guys that I've mentioned that have made it, and the guys who have played university and who are doing so well. It's just like I feel like that Windsor way just comes out of you guys, and it stays in you guys. And like listening to you talk about Windsor Stadium and all the other guys talk about your memories at Windsor Stadium, and it's so real, and the humility just stays in you guys. And I love that part of it. I know that makes everybody that's here like extra proud, and
Yeah.
we are a small football community in the city, like, and so that we kind of all do like have roots to knowing somebody who knows somebody in some
Oh yeah.
way. Man, I love seeing that. I love hearing you talk like that, and
Me
looking
too.
forward to seeing those videos come out, man. So yeah, hit me up for sure. I'll get you back on here. We can talk about that all day.
Most definitely, dude. But yeah, I have the same feeling. I have the same feeling you get every time I meet a Windsor guy, or and anybody from Windsor. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be an athlete. There's just Windsor way about them that just like it's warmth. It's like, okay, we got some Windsor cats here. It's dope.
Good,
It's
man.
dope.
Well, I appreciate you so much coming on here. I know you must be tired as a father of four. You know,
Beat.
I'm doing my daddy daycare thing this weekend. It's just me and my boys. My wife's heading out for a course. Speaking of mentors, heading out in New York to learn some stuff. And
Good luck.
man, it's gonna
I did
be
that last week.
gonna be wild. They got big plans for me, man. I don't know if I
Yeah,
can keep up tomorrow night
that's good
sleeping on
movie
the
night.
floor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens, man. My girls take over my bed when my wife's gone. I can't even. I'm on the floor too, dude. It's all right.
On the floor. At least I have real hips.
Yeah, straight up, man. Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm gonna, yeah, I got early mornings and late night with these girls, man. So, sorry we had to do it at this late, but I appreciate you, and appreciate you adjusting for me, and yeah, man.
All right.
Throw that lion away too. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks for your time, man. And thank you everybody for listening. We're over and out. Catch you next time.
Now's the time to do more and be more.